We're going to go ahead and call this budget workshop to order, August 25th, 2026, 7:30 or 6:33 p.m. We'll start with invocation, followed by Pledge of Allegiance. Ramsey, if you'd lead us, please.
Father, we're thankful for you bringing us together safely tonight. We ask for your strength and your guidance to make decisions to try to better this city. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you guys. We're going to move on from there to number 4, which will be announcements. Council, do you have any announcements? City, you want?
Yeah, we got September 19th at the waste plant at 10 o'clock will be our auction.
Okay.
19 next month.
Cards and all.
10 a.m. September 19th at the water plant, at the sewer plant, the auction.
Anything?
City of Tawakoni is excited to announce the groundbreaking ceremony for Tawakoni Plaza Phase 1 on August 26th at 9 a.m. First phase includes restaurant, retail, gas station, and liquor store development, with hotel and residential phases to follow. The event is open to the public, and we welcome everyone to join us.
So it kicks off at 9 a.m. It's going to be kind of heavy. We'll be parking in the grass. There'll be a lot of traffic out there. So just everybody be careful. I know we got a lot of people coming to this. So anything else?
9/12 we have cleanup.
On 9/12 citywide cleanup? Okay. Anything else?
Just curious what the estimated completion date is for the
Still on
water
board.
plaza. Don't have it, okay.
He's ready to speak on it. Just real quick, Maze Lane, major construction. When are we starting?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
After the groundbreaking.
And that'll go for 2 or 3 days
Probably Friday.
till Friday. So expect delays up and down Maze Lane. Traffic control will be out there to try to help, but expect delays. Anything else? Okay. We'll move on from there. Number 5, citizens input related to agenda items, 3-minute time limit. I didn't receive anything. Nothing. Okay, move on from there. Number 6, citizens input not related to agenda items, 3-minute time limit. Again, I didn't receive anything. Nothing there. So we will keep moving on from there. Number 7, we will move into the budget workshop. We've got a 90-minute time block. A will be discussion on 2026-2027 budget. You got something you want to kick off with it?
Yeah, I'll just go over a quick summary and then we can get into however council wants to address. So last meeting, we provided general fund, an example of how it can be balanced. And then last week we sent water sewer fund, also balanced. Mary and I did have to move a few numbers around the last few days, but the overall gist of water sewer is still pretty much the same. Revenues, we're saying down from 2.84 million to 2.33. Garbage, we're going to move around how that's shown in fund view. The actual number for garbage is pretty much determined by Blackjack's rates, but how we book that revenue as fund view is going to be moved around. It will be one line, which hopefully will be easier to follow. Sewer billing, we're looking at going from 370K to 387K based on what we've seen this year and what we think will be coming up. Won't be budgeting any carryover for the upcoming year. We think the 1.5 million for water is a reasonable estimate for the next year. And we base that partly on the increase in water sewer taps that we've had this year. And we'll increase the value on that also from 82 to 84. As far as expenditures, basically everything gets cut. Overall, from 2.86 million to 2.33 million, we're balanced. On the water side, it's a reduction of 1.5 or 2 FTEs, and they're also absorbing some FTE from general fund. Overtime is cut. Equipment rental is increased because we won't be purchasing any equipment. The city matching grants is for some projects that were grant funded, and we should have some activity on that next year, but overall it won't be nearly as much. Sewer expenditures down, contract labor down. Line improvements, we cut from 10,000 to 5,000, but if we get additional revenues, that can be somewhere that council could put money. Maintenance supplies down, but not too much. It's just based on what we've seen this year. In the non-departmental section of the water sewer fund, gravel, sand, concrete, which is for the road to the sewer plant, basically went from $50,000 to $984. Lift station R&R from $50,000 to $40,000. Equipment purchase, basically no major equipment purchase, so down to $5,000. The water purchase is set by SRA rate, so that's up about $5,000. And then that USDA phase 1 and 2 goes from 216 to 264, and that's per our debt service schedule. That is all debt that was issued up as late as 2017. Is that correct? So that's what we're paying on there. And that's what we brought you in terms of the water sewer fund. The budgets that Mary has printed out for you is the same format as prior, where you have a fund summary, you have personnel, and then we have all of the worksheets for we have all of the funds here now, Mary.
No, I just did water sewer and
General fund and water sewer should be in front of you. So we're here for any questions and or for you to attack the budget however you like. Okay, council. Who wants to kick off with questions?
Shall I go first?
Well, I'm just gonna make a general statement to start with. This part of the job that we have as council members is not always pleasant because we have to look out for the residents. It's not gonna be a fun evening, I don't think, but one thing I do feel very strongly about and I haven't seen yet is an assistant for Shannon. I think we need somebody in code enforcement and we're gonna have to cut to get there, so.
How much money do you think we need?
Based on the conversation that Kidwell has had with us, if we hire that company, what'd you say, about 45,000?
You should be able to get by with about 42.
What company?
There's a company that he knows of that could come in through the code enforcement end of it for Shannon. She'd still have to oversee them, but they would go out.
Yes, sir, you can.
So if the police department handled code enforcement in the past, why can't the police department handle code enforcement now? We already paid the police department. They need an extra person, that extra 30, 40,000 a year that's been discussed to just go to the police department. And on top of whatever fines they make is just additional money for the police department. So why doesn't the police department that's already handling it? The town's only 2 square miles, it's not that big. And I'm sure they could comment, but something pretty much drive down every road out here on a regular basis. Just asking questions. Why do we need to subcontract out when our budget is already this small? Is what I'm asking.
John, do you have any insight on that? Are you equipped to do that? Licensed to do that?
Probably. Pretty easy to get the license.
No, can you talk a bit louder? Can't hear. I can't hear
It
you.
takes about a week-long course, and you take it online.
But you have 2 full officers and 1 part-time? What is that gonna do? I mean, do you have the time if we were to figure that out?
I mean, they make the time in their daily shift. To take care of. The way that we watched was instead of the other, each part-time officer was through code enforcement with the animal control. We already paid animal control $20,000 a year for animal
Yeah, we looked at them and that's not gonna happen. We had a presentation from them on what they were willing to do and going to do.
Everything. You know how much you want to
Okay.
pay.
Should be good now.
Right, sorry about that. We had some technical.
I'm gonna add him to, let's see if I can add him out.
You want me to keep waiting or are you good?
You got it.
All right.
I'm trying to.
So we was just discussing additional resources for code.
Yes,
What else did you,
well, I had some line items on the water and sewer expenses, if we want to go through that now or later.
we can go straight there and then we can go backwards. We got an hour and a half. So if you've got some you want to look at, some of them I'm sure the others already have on theirs as well. So
On the line item on 2006-5059, the FICA went up, but the annual budget for the salary went down, so I'm not quite sure why that would happen that direction.
give her
I can
just a
hear you
second.
Yeah, cause this
So is that gonna
it's just
be-
a percentage, right?
Yes.
For your, to answer your question, hang on a second. It all links back to this.
Yeah, that's
So,
calculated off that personnel tab.
what do you think, water? Yeah.
I know, but if the salaries went down,
And this is newer information.
did that change maybe?
It could have.
Wait a minute, what's newer?
Everything's should put in front of you tonight.
This sheet's newer than this
This one
sheet?
is, this is,
What you had previously printed.
it's over here. I haven't opened it. This is
What I
what was
gave
in
you
front of
today.
Okay, so it looks like the salaries went up, not down. Okay,
So that's why FICA went up.
yes,
Okay.
okay, so never mind. The other one I had. I guess, you know, we've kind of discussed this before. I'm still confused on telephone issues as to, it's in so many different places. And I don't even know how many we have or what, have we looked at any other places?
We don't
could
either.
reduce it? Like a different company?
Let me just point them out. That's just, so I'm really confused about phones. And I know that we sat back and cut some of them out, but I got copies of the phone lines that we have this week. And we have 14 phone lines in the police department.
Not anymore.
As of,
August 6th, and I think she provided that information to you.
she did, but she didn't tell me that we had an issue with the email. We also have an enormous number of data plans, hotspots, phones and such in City Hall and with Public Works. And I think we need to, I did notice that we reduced the budgeted number from the actual expenditure number in 2026. However, I have a concern with exceeding budget, right? Because we don't know about it until after it happens. And it seems to be an issue that we can put any number we want to in the 27 proposed budget, but if we exceed it, it just comes back to us in a budget amendment, and may or may not have the line items in there that show us what the budget amendment is. So for the next meeting, I would like to propose that we have a resolution, an ordinance, something that says if you're going to exceed your budgeted number by $1, it requires council approval. And whatever number we end up on this year, if you get to that number in April, you don't get any more money in that until council knows exactly what the money's being spent on. I'm sorry if it takes an extra 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks we meet every 2 weeks. So it's not like we can't have that on the agenda to discuss that. So I would like to have that on the next council agenda, and I will defer to Lee, whoever, what that resolution needs to say or needs to do, but it needs to have some teeth.
Mary, what can they do to the funds line?
So we've got, first AT&T FirstNet is what PD has, and then everybody else uses Verizon Wireless. So I have a spreadsheet that I gave Greg earlier, I can share it later, that's got all the lines breakdown, what the item is, who it associates to. There's not cost breakdown on it, got that, took me a couple hours to all that, find out today. If he's got that, I can share it with everybody else, kind of get an idea of what we have. There's room to trim it, absolutely. There's more hotspots than perhaps are actually needed and used. There's more desk phones that are being used at the moment. Just small little things that we could go line by line and trim a little at a time.
Have you looked at any other companies though to see if we could get cheaper rates on it?
Not in the past, we've had Verizon for 2 years now, not in the past 2 years. At the time, Verizon was cheaper than what we had at the time before we went.
Do we have voice over IP or anything like
Yes,
that?
we did, through Verizon Business.
I don't know what T-Mobile offers, but that's when I switched to them, I still get good connection throughout the city. Doesn't matter what street I go down, and it's a lot cheaper. I mean, because I had AT&T before that, and I changed.
So I checked on the T-Mobile for government, they don't have that side of things. Which we would need for our company.
Yeah, and there first responder perks and things with both of them. So if disaster happens with both Verizon and AT&T, we can get response directly from them too, which is a huge bonus to everything.
The only thing I would suggest is that, they have a job to do too, right? All of the employees. So I think we got to give them a little freedom too. If there is, something is going up, they got to be able to fix a lot of those things. I don't think we got to look at every single dollar. Yeah. It's important that we be fiscally conservative, but I think we got to let our employees do the job too. Maybe we put a little threshold and say, okay, if it exceeds this amount or this percentage.
Goes over budget. Goes over budget. That's what mine is. I'll give you the budget, but if you go over the budget, you got to come ask. You don't get to just go over the budget.
The thing about it is, for most of it, if they're going to know they're going to be going over budget before it happens, most of the time, if they're really watching it, and we're watching it each week, when we get our packet each month.
Well, if it's not double posted, or it's not,
Yes.
if it's not in some disarray, I love this new spreadsheet that gives us a much better view, but we've been asking for that for a year. And I realize that we may not have been able to get it until now, but now that we have it, I think we should be able to say, if you get to the threshold of your budget, you don't spend another dime until you get council to approve it.
I have another one.
Go ahead.
On something different. And you could probably answer this question, but I'm just kind of confused about it. There's two different line items that say sludge disposal.
One's going to be water and one's going to be sewer. You can explain the needs for both of them.
Yeah, it's one waste on our clarifier, just let that go somewhere. So it doesn't put a big holding tank up. When it's full, we gotta.
So
We
it's like double duty. It goes one place and has to go again.
There's also sludge dumpsters and sewer plants.
That makes
Okay,
sense.
I was just curious. That wasn't.
Okay, so you see the, I think broke down 06 and 07, so anything at 06 is water directly, and then we do 7 is sewer.
Is that number, do we have a contract with anybody, or do we just call it out as needed? It's just call it out.
Blackjack.
That's all I
Well,
have.
Blackjack takes care of that sewer.
Yes.
Who takes care of the water plant?
Usually you get
and it's just an on-call thing, is doing can you get a contract with those people that if they do it on a regular basis, it costs us less money? If we looked at any kind of I've never looked at that. I mean, it just seems like if they have a schedule, because if you call them on a Sunday, they're going to charge us a lot more on a Saturday or Sunday than they are if they come once a month or once a quarter. How often do we do it? I have no clue. Once a week. We do it once a week, and we don't have a scheduled contract with them.
No, it takes forever to do that.
I'm confused.
Once a week.
No, we put sludge into the tank.
Yes. How often do we empty the sludge?
Just when it's full.
So how many times did we call them last year?
So in water plant, it's more.
It's
of
once a
a
year.
one-off situation.
Yeah, once a year is not going to get us a contract.
No.
What about the water plant? Is more often than that?
No, sewer plant, we have a contract. Water plant.
Okay. How often do we do who's the contract with? That's with Blackjack at the sewer plant. Okay.
One of them was 2,000 and one of them was what, 10,000?
Yeah, the sewer plant.
So
That
one
makes sense.
time in 1 year, it's gonna cost 10,000.
Sewer plant's gonna be more.
That's the 2,000.
The $2,000 one's the water plant. The $10,000 one is the sewer plant.
That's all I have.
Questions answered? James, you want to go next?
So the police, we only have 3 police officers, right?
What?
We only have 3 now, right? 3 police officers or 4?
Or 3.5.
3.5?
3 at a part-time.
I don't have an answer.
Okay. Ramsey, do you have a whole list? You want me to skip you and come back to you, or you
You
want
can
to?
skip me. You can skip me.
Okay, kind of thought so.
Yep. I don't know if you asked it, but the rock and sand and the street paving material, how did we go over budget on that? What did we fix all that?
Another question,
So-
on the whole rock and sand thing too.
Hold on, just 1 second. Hold on.
Let me address Chad's question. You're in the general fund, is that right?
Public Works Department.
Okay. You're in your fund, yeah.
So the 3 line items, contract labor, epoxy and gravel, and street paving materials that are all within that same department are mostly our road contractor Grady. And we use an estimate at the beginning of the year as to how that's going to be broken out. His labor and hauling fees versus the materials. And the invoices come in, and he knows his overall budget, but we keep him apprised of where he's at on everything else. In order to balance at the end of the year, we'll have to move from one line item to another, but we'll keep them under the overall budget.
So how much is that material versus labor?
The expenditures, well, the expenditures show, the contract labor is gonna be the labor, and then the rest is materials, in terms of the actual expenditures column right there.
Contract labor?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, $29.
What was the supervisor?
Yeah. So what do we fix with the 220,000?
Several roads really, but never hooked up because of the range.
So what roads have you completely redone?
Red on Bay. This is for friendship. We put a lot of material down on Red Hill. But like I said, never hold up.
Shenandoah's got a fair amount of material this year. There's been some material on Maze and on throughout Indian Oaks, just in terms of potholes and repairs. Bella Vista got basically completely redone, is that right? And then starting tomorrow, Maze Lane will get, should be about 50,000 net left out of all 3 of those categories. And we'll probably eat almost all of that up on Maze, trying to get some over on the Tomahawk.
Did that answer your questions? Okay, go ahead.
Another question is, why are we having Grady's and gravel, all rock, all the way down to the sewer plant? beating up that road, 80,000 pound trucks, just to turn around and have to go back over there and haul it back out of there. So why are we paying to have it hauled twice? Why are we paying to have it carry the road? And I would love to see an itemized invoice of exactly how much are paying per ton for that rock. I'd love to see that. My question is, why do we pay $220,000 when the rock should have went from crusher to road, not crusher to plant to road to wherever the hell else got moved? And at the same time, why do we spend $300,000 maintaining roads when it previously stated there's no drainage? So the roads stay wet, the roads stay muddy, the roads keep sinking, yet we're just throwing money at the roads when you're not actually fixing the roads, because the first time it rains, all the water's off. And all the roads that Grady, Sand, and Gravel already fixed are all full of potholes and all tore up, because nobody's bothered to grade a single one on that. The city doesn't have any equipment to do it, and Grady, Sand, and Gravel hasn't bothered to do any of it. I've maintained the strip in front of my house because I personally own the equipment to do it, and there's been some grievances there because nothing in my yard. Everybody's house on my corner floods because nothing drains. If the city owns an excavator, city owns a backhoe, city owns a dump truck, we already paying for the labor. Why have I never seen someone out there with a backhoe or an excavator dig a single ditch? Every single ditch they have dug near my house, they just fill it with mud and it's worse than what's before. They continue to spend $300,000 to make the roads worse. I don't quite understand what the thought process is in the road maintenance and or why it's being done.
Very good questions. I gotta keep it on the budget. So I think
the budget is why are we paying to do it 3 or 4 times when it needs to be done right the first time? And the budget is already there to do it right the first time. It's just not being done.
so go ahead.
Budget is not there to do it right the first time. They budgeted $287,000 for road repairs and maintenance for this fiscal year. When that's all spent, that's all you'll see is what's done, plus that part of Mays and part of Tomahawk. I'm trying to answer your question. So in order to make a dent in the road inventory in this city, would take at least $1.5 million every year to make a dent in it. So we could either not maintain them at all, and they'd be a lot worse, or we could take the money that we have each year and maintain how we can.
But we're not maintaining them in the right order. That's my point. If we're going to spend money to fix roads, you fix the drainage first so the road doesn't continue to sink. Why isn't there's not a single inch of drainage been fixed anywhere?
That's incorrect, sir.
Why hasn't it been fixed anywhere that I've seen it? So if it hasn't been fixed, great, but why has it never been fixed in the areas that we all know are bad? Why are we paying for drainage studies on roads that we can't afford to fix? Like, why are you wasting money on a drainage study when you can't afford to fix what the drainage study does to fix? Like,
So the specific drainage studies that we've ordered, Sandy Lynn, Shenandoah, and Rabbit Cove, all have private property at the end of those roads. And we're concerned about flooding if we push water too fast, too far. And so we got drainage studies on Shenandoah that tell us what would happen if we cut those. And it looks like we can do it. It's just going to cost a lot. Same with Sandy Lynn. We're trying to figure out the same thing for Rabbit Cove. But if you're a property owner at the end of one of those roads, I think you would probably be interested in having a drainage study done before we just start pushing water down that road as fast as we can.
It's going to get pushed on that road no matter what. Doesn't matter what the drainage study says. If the end of the road is the lake, where it's going to end up.
Sure. But there's only a certain amount of flow so fast that the ditches can handle, and that's what we're trying to figure out.
The thing is, you can't, if the city doesn't have the budget to fix the problem, why are you wasting money trying to find the problem? Just fix what you got and roll with it. That's all anybody's asking you to do.
Heard. Anything else? Can you speak to real quick? Part of the first question he brought up is why we bring in the dirt and everything all at one time and then turn around and take
A
it
lot
out.
of it is stock for us, so we can pothole.
So that we can pothole, and then having it there, one, the time for somebody to truck it in here. You can't be trucking it in while you're trying to do the roads. We don't have that kind of manpower or trucking. Huh?
I've done millions and millions of dollars of asphalt paving on roads just the same way you are doing it. That is exactly how we've done it every time.
When you have millions and millions to spend.
Not in one place. You go get all that stuff off the highway, they're basically giving it away.
Yeah, we keep a lot of it
For stock. And like you brought in all that that's down there today for what you're doing on Mays.
No. Maybe
No.
right full.
Okay.
That's going to be straight from Grady to the road, right?
Okay. So that one we would bring in straight in. Right.
Okay, so why is it that one project call it straight in? I know the answer to that personally, but why are you doing it for that one project but not any of the others? Because I know full and well how long it takes to go to the crusher, take 2 scoops to the full-size excavator or loader, load the truck, and come right back, but it doesn't go off down that lane, fill it with the city's backhoe that takes forever, and go back. It's not saving any time.
It sounds like this needs to be an off the agenda discussion on what thoughts you have that could better do what we're doing here. Definitely something we should be talking about, but I need to keep the budget line moving, but definitely you got some thoughts there that might be able to help.
Very much budget related, so.
Yeah.
I brought it up.
Yes, sir. Okay, Chad, you didn't have anything else? No. All right, you wanna go?
I wanted to ask, about the telephone franchise. I know we talked about it the other day, and I'm wondering, who is paying into that, line item?
There's that. In the, project status, got it?
No, I was just gonna answer the question directly. So, Frontier pays us a right-of-way franchise fee. And, also in that line is CIP, they pay us a tower rental that goes under that franchise as well.
So it, Verizon is not,
Correct.
and do you know whether we have reapportioned those rates in?
That's on the project list.
So the status of our franchise agreements with these utilities is kind of nebulous at this point. So that's one of the things that at some point we would like for staff to be able to spend some time on. Are we back down? Are we up or down?
Right.
We're up? Okay, all right. I just didn't see it, so, okay. What else you got?
That's it. Yeah.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready. First question, is there any particular reason, because we have, we need to try and find some money in the general fund. Is there a specific reason why we pay all of the city secretary out of the general fund and not split it like we do community development? And is there any reason why we can't do that? So my research said it doesn't have to be.
Up to hearing and
In fact, a lot of small cities, because if the water clerk's not here and somebody calls with a water question, who do they ask?
anybody?
Right, but it could be Mary, right? Could be the city secretary. So, like, my research showed that it's very common for small type A general law cities to split the cost of the city secretary between the water sewer fund and the general fund. Chris?
That is
I did just
something.
ask Doug because that.
That is something
Yes.
you could look at.
He has an answer if you would like to jump in.
Yes,
We would
Doug,
love for him to
Yes,
talk.
Doug.
We have 5 people. We have 5 people in this building. All right. We have 5 people in this building. So can we take 50%? We do it with community development. It's a nice round number.
so it sounds like you could. At this point where we're at with water sewers, I'm not aware of any surplus that you could use to fund that. But I think if we do end up squishy on that one, that would be a way to go.
All right. I believe that that's a way that we can move, because Because it seems like water sewer always has money in the budget or has a surplus that we don't have in, and we struggle to find something in the, but since I haven't gone through the water sewer as tightly as I've gone through the general fund, I'll go look there. But I would like to find a way to put, to split that 50-50. Also in my research, I found that, Christmas bonuses are illegal. I think we need to pull all 10,000 out of the general fund, and anything that's in the water sewer fund for Christmas bonuses needs to go away. I don't feel like going to jail.
Christmas bonuses, on the face are not illegal. They have to be built into a policy, like say when the budget is passed. And so we would need to amend the employee handbook to show that they're part of the normal plan in order for them to be fully kosher.
We spoke with Lee on this one.
Interesting. City of Quinlan calls it illegal.
Sir, I'm not going to get into what City of Quinlan does.
Okay. Well, and y'all brought it up, City of Quinlan, when we wanted Fridays off. So I just thought we'd throw out a few.
One of several that we talked about. When we're compared to the City of Quinlan on things like fees and stuff like that, I get conflicting information between what people tell me they heard from Quinlan versus what I see in their ordinances. So I'm not really trying to address what they do with bonuses.
Okay. I still think that that's a line item that needs to be addressed.
Sure.
And clearly phones need to be addressed.
And I believe that 10,500 is.
It's 10,000 in the general fund, and I haven't looked at the water sewer.
No,
fund.
that's total.
It's all, yeah, it's total.
That's
And it says
not-
10,000 at the bottom.
Yes, but that's for all funds, all employees.
What's the reason for the attorney fees, 50% increase?
She went up on her rates for us. I mean, we are requiring more of her than when she first started.
50%?
Want more information?
It's going from
She went
24,000
from
to 36,000. To 36,000.
We do rely on her a great deal more than,
What are we doing? What is she doing more than what she was doing when she was in the higher?
she maintained the same rates that Jim McElroy had. I was not involved when dealing with Jim. I don't know how involved he was, but she is.
She did. She did just assume his rates. There was no discussion, no nothing. That I do
She did a
remember.
couple of years, and after the amount of work she does put into the city, she felt it was.
Is there more?
Probably. I know we need to address telephones. We're going to do that. I would like to address telephone. We also added money to the general fund for the park. In this year's budget, I think we can cut that some. Even though that's my pet project and I believe the park needs it, and it certainly does. I also know that we're $300,000 short. And we need to, and that means everybody gets a chunk. Looking for one specific. Yeah, so did we take out the park playground equipment repair and maintenance of 2,500? And the new one?
$52.37.
Yes, it's.
Zero.
Yeah.
It's taken out already? What did we do with that $2,500?
Let's see how many it's got. Universe somewhere. I don't have the exact number for that one too.
And then you can cut the improvements to half, and we'll go for grants on that. Half of that from 12 to 6. Did our security system really go from 3,000 to 6,000?
Which, I mean, there's security on several lines.
08, 5235.
We started doing all the security coming out of one line.
I'm sorry, it's 5241. Sorry, I was reading the wrong line.
What's security system?
And what is the security system and who is it? And
And we've got ADC here, water plant and sewer plant.
Okay.
What do they do? What do they do?
One,
Camera system?
yes, cameras, got
Cameras, monitors.
And last year it was $3,095, and this year it's 6,000. Did we add cameras? Did we add services?
we did we have those, we did add cameras. We added 4 more this year. Was it 4 more?
Where?
5.
Where?
Around the perimeter, we had different angles, there's a couple different angles on the side of the river.
We have a flock camera sitting right out front. Where did John and Paul go?
What camera can play
I understand. I'm just saying,
That's not a block.
how many cameras do we got to have pointed over here to stop crime?
You've got
Do they work? Who's got access to them?
access to them. I have access to them. There's my office, and one there's Shannon's office, and PD have access.
So can we do some research on that and find out why it went from 3,100 to $6,000? I realize I'm only getting nickels out of the whole deal.
Are you looking at 5241?
Yes.
Okay, so the actual number last fiscal was 5814. This fiscal was budgeted 7,000. We hit 2579 as of the end of July, so we just annualized that to 3095. I'm not sure exactly what we'll get to at the end of September, but we didn't feel safe going much below the previous year's budgeted or actual figure, and we stayed between the current year budgeted and the current year annualized.
But that's just 4 cameras?
Take cameras.
Like, is that subscription service?
Yes. The subscription service is it's also our,
How much is that monthly?
if I'm looking at it, we've got
$500 a month if we have $6,000.
Yeah, that's a lot.
water plant, and then yes, okay.
So the water sewer also has a line on that. I think we gotta look at an alternative to that. Um, 085004, business travel for the mayor and council. I'll pay my own way if I travel somewhere. I know it's $500, but it's $500. Anybody else have a problem driving themselves to a meeting or whatever?
Cost of any trains or.
That's business travel, mayor and council. I mean, I'm already volunteering my time. I volunteer my gas money too. And I apologize, I didn't have time to go through the water sewer nearly as much. So I'll go over it over the next day or two.
I'd like to look at the software subscriptions as well.
I have that broke out.
Yeah, I got that. It's really difficult to tell. It's hard to understand what they all are, and I get that because I'm not going to know them. You know, it's not Office 365. There's lots of them that are in there that we probably should have a conversation about what they actually are, because that's a considerable amount of money.
I have a concern. When you guys ask questions like that, that's going to affect our budget lines. please include all of us on the response so that we're up to what's being discussed.
We just have to be careful we don't respond. We can't
Yes.
reply to all. The reason they do that on purpose is because it's a walking forum. If we reply to all,
Yeah, so she can send out something to all,
Right.
but
we
you
can't
can't
reply to all.
reply to all. You can only reply back to her. You cannot have a quorum through an email chain.
Okay.
But when she makes a change or she does something, she can send it out to everybody.
Right.
But you just have to be careful. You cannot reply back all.
Okay.
If you need to, you got a comment, you want to send something back, make sure you're just responding to Mary or Mary and myself.
Okay. But what I'm saying is they asked the question, she responded, so we should all be able to see that response so that we're all on the same page when we come to the meeting. If she can send it out to all of us, however she does it.
And it's just it gets to be a lot. I can do a summary of what all changes I made, before we get to the next budget, workshop. Fine. But, as we're looking at this, we're making little changes here and there, spot frequency, so tracking everyone would be fun. And I can, like, on major changes, we can just, the way Chris did it, he had a summary of what.
Could you just highlight them in the spreadsheet?
What?
Could you just highlight them in the spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Highlight red the stuff you took away and highlight yellow or green the stuff you put in. Because that at least lets us look at the changes.
Yeah.
Number
them for me.
Yeah, number them for red. I can't do it. And I have another question on the accounts payable. Does the accounts payable person ever pay water bills or pay? She's showing on here is 100% allocation to general fund. I'm looking at the last sheet I had, so the one I wrote notes on, not one you sent out since then, but it's page 1, got the third one from the bottom.
The accounts payable is showing allocation is 0% now for general fund and 100% for
Okay.
water.
All right, that's fine.
It still says general fund next to her, but it's water sewer.
And
It's down
08,
in the water sewer formula territory.
I mean, I would assume that the fund number on the left drives where the money goes in the spreadsheet.
In this case, the formula at the bottom are built on the ranges. And so when we move the lines down there, I just failed to correct the fund label in there.
Okay,
So you would like to see her,
in the water sewer, at least 50%. I mean,
you want
she
What you're saying,
pays the
she's
bills for
already
the
made
chemicals. doesn't
We
she?
made the
She's
move.
already moved 100%.
We made the move. I just didn't change the label for the fund.
I've got a question of water sewer. If our revenues were down, was our production down? So we produced the same amount or more than normal, but our revenues. Okay, so that explains why the chemicals didn't go down. Do we put those chemicals out to bid? Or
Yeah, I mean, I've searched several different places there.
and do we buy?
Dustin is trying to find cheaper. He uses the same, and he's trying to find cheaper. They're just not cheaper.
Yeah. Do we buy them all at once?
No, we buy them as they go. Like, we got big tanks in the water plant.
Uh-huh.
As they get low, we call them out. They come back in.
Okay.
You got more you want to add?
What did we do for overtime in the water sewer fund for 27? We had 35,000 in the sheet that I had, but I think I saw it went down in the.
It's calculated in personnel as 29,824. Mary and I cut them a little more. I think we took it down to, what is it, 26, 25?
Okay. All right, because when I annualized what we had in this particular sheet, it was not 35,000.
Is there something creative we can do to cut back on a contract labor?
For water, 06, that is,
It's Dustin, and
our, is.
Yeah,
Dustin,
I mean, I know it's down
He's the
everywhere I've worked, they're trying to get rid of it.
well, can you explain?
He's gonna be like,
same.
I can go get a big and we can cook it
What's that gonna take?
He's gonna want more money.
That's okay.
Classes, time, roughly,
This number go down.
roughly what kind of time and
up. It varies, it depends on what class is available. I can't really put a time on that.
so he is the only one that we have with a B?
Which one?
Smart just to have somebody else as a backup. We
Single
put
point of
ourselves
failure.
in positions before without him.
Single point of failure.
Ends up costing us a lot more in the long run.
Does he do anything other than hold the license?
Yeah, he comes every day.
Dustin is also helping with some of the TCEQ issues we've had at the water plant. He's pretty knowledgeable about resolving those items, and we have unresolved items going back, I don't know how long, to 22. I have every confidence that JD can get that license and handle things, but until we get our TCEQ issues straightened out, I would prefer to have the professional help available.
So if we move, 50% of city secretary salary and we remove, Christmas bonuses, we're over 42,000 for code enforcement assistance. However, we decide to spend that money.
You're moving half the city secretary into water sewer?
Yes.
Okay, and
Is he trying to talk to us up there?
No.
I don't have a way.
Me and him are discussing next scheduled date. whether
You're gonna
it's-
find it in 48 hours?
I don't think you like what it looks like.
I don't like the way it looks now.
I don't think anyone does, right?
I mean, but I also don't like Shannon leaving because she can't keep up with the amount of work we put on.
Absolutely,
I like that less.
correct.
So I'd rather find somewhere else to take it out and, I mean, if I got a pick, I'm gonna pick Shannon staying and getting some help. That we took away last year, tired you.
Doug may or may not have an opinion on this. I think in water sewer, we took on revenue projections for next year that basically flat from your projections for this year, but they're, considerable increase from our actuals. From a revenue point of view, $30,000-$40,000 on 1.5 doesn't look, like a lot. So if you needed to find it, you could say it's there, but I would caution this council against that practice overall. And I would also defer to Doug if he has any suggestions there.
Doug, you got anything?
So we need to go find 45,000 in water that we can cut so that we can move from water to, am I understanding that correctly?
You could, or you could find it in the general fund.
And but the general fund has, we've already attacked the general fund as much as, there's there are, there are additional ways that we can, reduce our costs, but they're painful.
Right.
I mean, our single biggest expense is still healthcare. It's $210,000. And last year we found an alternative that would have paid for 2 helpers for Shannon. And we need to, I think we need to address it. I think we need to shop it, and I think we need to find a plan that the staff can live with and that we can afford.
We've already said to go back and have her at least look, right?
So that's what we talked last time, you know.
We had gotten
That
comparisons.
you will shop it?
Did you see those comparisons?
I did. We got comparisons on the exact same plans,
Correct.
right? And so what I would like to do is see us get some comparisons on additional types of plans. Okay? We just don't have the money. And while I would love for us to say that we can afford to do that for everybody, I don't see how we can do that.
Does the company that we use right now, don't they offer additional PPO plans that aren't as expensive?
Or higher deductibles, or
Higher deductibles.
We shopped higher deductible PPO plans with the same company, and we were able to save, something like $8 a month per
That was
employee.
not a
For
amount for the-
basically, you don't get back what you put onto the employee.
what about an HSA? Because do all of our employees meet their deductibles? Or do we have, I don't want to be personal about employees and their health, but what I do want to know is, are we paying a lot for insurance that's not being used?
One of the plans we did ask for was a higher deductible so that they could offer an HSA. And that's one of the ones that we talked about. I think it was $12 a month per employee cheaper.
It was a 1.9% decrease to go with an HSA with a $1,700 deductible. Versus our current $1,500 deductible. Looks like it would have went from $1128.46 to $1106 even.
So $22. So
We had a higher deductible, $2,000 deductible. It did not have HSA. It was a 2.7% decrease for a total of $1097.86 per employee per month.
it's 2% of $210,000 is 2.7 is $7,000, $6,500. So I did go and look at other cities at what their budgeted amount is for healthcare. I'm going to bring Quinlan back up. Okay, I don't want to compare anything to, but they have the exact same number of employees we have, and their 27 budget for healthcare for their employees is $167,000. That is $52,000. Is that right? Did I do my math right? It's a giant number difference. It's $42,163.
You know, what plan to have with it.
Yeah. PPO, $2,000 deductible through TML. I spent 2 hours on the phone with their city secretary asking questions, trying to find out how their budget can be so much sharper than ours. I just can't believe that I don't know the answer, but what I do know is that their 27 budget, and it went up 15% from last year. They were 150,000 last year.
I think it's really based on claims, right?
It's based on a lot. There's a lot of factors. It's a different census, so it could be different employees, all that kind of stuff. But that's a significant amount of money. difference for the exact same number of employees.
So the PPO plan with the 2,000 deductible, that's one you just mentioned, it would have been 22 cheaper per employee, correct? Okay, so that would have saved us on the current roster 4,500. They have a different census from us.
Sure, no question, no question.
So I can explain 4,500 a difference in the cost, but I can't explain the other 37,500.
The other 37,000. I can't either, but
The only option that I can think of would be the census, because if it's the same plan that we quoted.
so let's do some research and find out. You know, there may be other companies that offer those options, because we did find one last year, and we didn't get it done. And I think we owe $42,000 worth to get it done. I know I'm going to be the most disliked person in the city council again, and I'm sorry for that, but you know, I got to do what's right for the people that pay the taxes. The people that pay the taxes are paying $209,000 for health care, and the people that pay the taxes 7 miles that way are not.
One thing I want to add to that, if you don't mind. I think the only legitimate reason for government to exist, for a city government to exist, is to provide safe police department for the people, clean drinking water, maintain roads, basic infrastructure. And if Quinlan can do the same thing for $50,000 cheaper and have a way nicer city than we do, I think you should probably take some notes from whatever the hell city is doing.
They have a completely different tax structure than we do. So I understand what you're saying. And the only reason I use them is because they're right down the street. They're very similar to us. We're in the Quinlan ISD. You know, but Mary, I'll also tell you, I'm not against closing Fridays like they do at all. You know, and I know that was a point of contention with staff. But I also learned how they do that. And I would love to sit down with you and have that discussion, because it's a possibility. It exists. It can be done, but it can't be done with the numbers that we're using for everything else, because they don't get that, and that's how they do it. So, but that's obviously something council has to talk about. It council has to approve. But I would love to sit down and talk with you about how we can make that happen. I'm not about making it bad for the city staff. I'm about making it good for the citizens and giving our city staff the best possible opportunity to work here and have a great job. But I got to do the same thing for the citizens. It means I get to be the bad guy up here in
You got backup.
council. Well, speak up then. For crying out loud.
When I started mine, I thought we were only talking about the water and the sewer. I didn't know we were covering everything, because it got all confusing.
It's very confusing because it's two different sheets, and you got to go, and I want to go through both of them before, and I haven't had time to go through because I didn't get them till
I know when I watched you guys last year, and it was time consuming, that y'all went like line by line and discussed stuff, and now we're just kind of, I don't know, it's confusing for me.
Understandable.
And I think before it's over, we'll have to go line by line, but we're trying to figure out where the money's at right now is why all the bouncing around's going on.
Okay.
How many vehicles get taken off? What does that cost on fuel?
It's not, I know, our fuel actually dropped.
I do not understand how that's possible.
Pleasantly, and
It's-
it went down.
I do
all
understand. 4-cylinder truck.
That's a fair point. That's fair. Okay, so that's a fair point.
Thank you. I've been worried about that.
I'm like, there's got to be something going on. It's like, yeah, that's, you know.
Which I mean, I'm not.
So, so what are the rules on employees and vehicles? As opposed, what are the rules? There's got to be rules. You know, they take them home.
What's the guidelines for taking them home?
Yeah.
Who takes them
Who
home?
takes them home? What are their rules on?
I mean, protecting home is over 24/7.
I understand that, but what, you know, you go to Walmart in it? You go to, you know, do they haul their kids in it? I'm worried about the insurance liability, because that's another line I really want to talk about, is general liability and property insurance.
No, you don't have to.
Okay, so you drive it home, you park it, you get in your regular vehicle, you go wherever. You don't drive it unless you're coming back for an emergency or when you're coming back the next day. That's the rule. Okay? Does everybody understand that? I'm just asking the question. I don't want to, well, nobody told me, you know. But property insurance and general liability insurance, those are two lines also that are kind of large. And I wonder if we've shopped those recently, ever.
We've always used TNL and TNL first pool, and they give us the rates. And it's not the same TNL as Texas or Texas Health Benefits, but that's.
So should we, I realize that we're asking you, that we're putting more work on you. But I feel like, if you want help, I know I'm more than willing to come up and sit down and make phone calls or call vendors. I got zero issue with it. I don't have any problem negotiating either. But I worry that we just accept whatever they send us. And I think that there are opportunities for us to cut money out of our current costs. Even if it's nickels and dimes right now, nickels and dimes are what we need. We need anything. We got to find a way to build our reserve back.
So in terms of the TML intergovernmental risk pool, there may be alternatives to that. I'm not aware of. It's what, from my experience, cities go to because they understand what cities' obligations are with regard to, claims that people would submit. Generally, it's who we go to if someone believes that we've caused some damage to their property. Mm-hmm. And they determine, at fault or not, and how much needs to be paid out. Just throwing it out there, Doug, alternatives to that provider, or are there others that you know of cities using?
That's a great point.
We should do that annually.
Good point. So how do we didn't we have to do a list of assets for the
I
audits?
need a list from TNL of what's
I understand we can get a list from them. We need a list from us to compare,
okay.
Right?
Dale's working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Didn't we get that list for the audits already? And then let's get a list of what we're paying for insurance on, and let's look at the two lists and see if we can't cut some money there.
Yeah, are we paying for replacement cost?
Well, we'll also knock some off
actual value.
After what? Why are we insuring anything that's back there in the impound lot or in the auction lot?
Yeah, well, auction's still active.
Surely we're not paying insurance on stuff sitting back there behind the building.
record? No.
Okay. You're talking about trucks that we're driving today that are going to the auction in 10 days? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that you guys put a lot of work into balancing all this, and I think what we're trying to say as a council is we're gonna have to tighten our belt. I mean, I don't know, like nickels, dimes, whatever we're doing, it'll add up eventually. So we just have to look at everything and see where we can cut things.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Does the city own a duck road?
Yes.
Okay, so when we need rock for the road, why don't you just go to the crusher and buy it yourself, pay $20 a ton for it, so have like Grady haul over here, it's probably $45 to $50 a ton. We're talking about nickels and dimes, that's what I'm talking about. Why are we storing gravel when the crusher does that for you? And if you need a little bit here and there, you just drive the crusher like anybody else, buy what you need to use it. Instead of paying somebody to bring it over here and store it close, I understand, but there's not a crusher more than 20 minutes here.
We have a truck big enough to pull a trailer.
Not that, but
That, if that, if that, I think from our perspective, we gotta count on you guys to bring that. I don't know, I don't know what equipment we own, right? I know, all I see is a spreadsheet. If you guys have opportunities to reduce costs, let's find them and let's take advantage of them.
I've got a connection with someone in Rockwall right now. I can get all the crushed concrete you would ever want for free. Just gotta pay somebody to go get it, which would be half the cost of buying it from a crusher.
Absolutely, because
I can use as much
it's
as you want.
$1,200 a 20-yard load.
Yeah, I know that the highest price there is $25 a ton of the crusher. If you get to make a deal with the crusher, you're buying more, you're not gonna get a better deal than that. If you get it off the highway, I've had asphalt millings delivered off the highway, which is actually better than asphalt millings are buying. I've had that stuff delivered to us off the highway for $16 a ton. Because the highway has to get rid of it. They're doing all that construction up and down 30. It might be inconvenient when they want to get rid of it, but if you're stockpiling it, you stockpile it when you get it for cheap.
You got a place to put it, that's for sure.
Oh, we do have a place to put it. Now here's the other difference. If you buy asphalt millings from the crusher, it's crushed up into really fine pieces. There's no asphalt left in that. It will not stick together. If you buy it straight off the highway, it comes in big little chunky pieces. You lay that out, you take a crusher, you roll it in at 105 degrees. The residual asphalt, those big chunks, will glue that stuff together. It will be just as hard. Go down to the South 51 road and resource that I built. I can take a 20,000-pound dozer, fix the front of the dozer above the ground, and skim that blade across the ground. It will not touch that asphalt. It will not yield to it.
We got an open position in Public Works, pays $12 an hour. Just want to throw that out there.
That wouldn't even cover my payments.
I didn't ask you what your personal finances were. Asked you if you wanted a job.
Definitely need to leave. Definitely need to look at what we're doing there. Across the board with everything. I mean, we need Grady for certain things. But are we really utilizing what we need him for versus, and I know manpower and trucks and all that, that's part of setting your budget is looking at all that and trying to help.
And I think it's really important when we enact you're at your budget and you don't get any more until you come to us, and then you better have a really good justification, because we don't have the till to dip into to save us again. We used it all this year. So the answer is going to be no. And that means that you don't get to do it. And the alternative is you don't work. I mean, because without funding for payroll and everything else, there's no money to pay payroll. And essential services like water, have to go on. So, the alternative is that we don't have all the employees that we have and everybody's working more.
All right.
A lot of our road condition issues is from a lack of maintenance that goes back, I can verify 20 years. So I understand if we can't fix it immediately, it's been that way for 20 years. But if it's been that way for 20 years, you can't afford to do it now. You can wait a little longer.
The idea, just so you'll know, the idea is that when we get the audits finished, which is the biggest thing we've been doing for the last 12 months, is getting the audits finished, is to immediately then apply for the grants. We are a prime location to receive grants. And then we will do some of those major projects and get some of that funding. And that's exactly what we're going to apply for and do. But when our hands are completely tied without a completed audit.
I'm not going against you at all. What I'm going against is when I watch them mow portion of Rabbit Cove, which comes down to wasted fuel, wasted man hours, attempting to mow Rabbit Cove with a mower this big on a mini excavator. And all they really did was knock some weeds down and push a bunch of dirt up and made a big mess. I got videos of it. I can show you if you want. I took my tractor, so I got tired of looking at it, and I mowed that ditch myself with my tractor. So anybody is willing to drive down Rabbit Cove, look at the side that I did in 5 minutes, contractor, versus what the city did on their side, wasting time, man hour, fuel, doing nothing. That kind of stuff is really just kind of getting to.
It's the challenge of having the right equipment for the job, and that's one of the things that we know we lack is having the right equipment to do the job. And
You just don't do it. I mean, if you're gonna use the mini excavator, put the man hours to operating it, go use it for something more productive.
I don't know that don't do it is a choice we have.
Well, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have. I don't know that not doing it is a choice. Doing it bad's better than doing nothing.
The problem is they did one small little portion of it, just wasting time. They didn't do all of it. They didn't do half of it. They did maybe a quarter of it. Or somebody could have said, hey, that guy over there's got a $100,000 15-foot tractor that'll do the whole road in an hour and a half.
There's a challenge to and a legal liability piece for you doing it. I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just telling you, it's not as easy as me knocking on your door and saying, hey, would you go mow this frontage for me? That puts the city in a bad spot if something happens.
I understand that.
Not saying that you would sue us, but
There are those that would.
there are those that would.
We have to go to TML.
Yeah, we'd have to go sue TML if we were still using it. That's our challenge. But I understand what you're saying.
I'm saying the city could benefit a lot by selling some of the old equipment that we don't use, investing in better equipment that would.
We've had that discussion rather than buy equipment next year. The goal was to put money into rental so that we rent it when we need it. We get something that's
Because you don't have enough to buy outright what you need.
You could rent a machine for $4,000 a month or own it for $1,000.
for 36 months or 72 months, or we can rent it for 4,000 for the 1 month we need it.
Then you don't own it. I'm understanding on both ways.
It's what you gotta do.
We also don't have to maintain it, which we don't have the capability to do. We don't have the capability to repair it or anything else. That's our, where are we going to park it? It's going to be parked outside. That's, it's, I don't disagree with you that that we could use a lot of equipment, but I think our challenge is being able to afford that equipment and then maintain it and keep it up and running for as long as the payments last.
You're talking to someone that does it himself. Like I started from nothing and built all the stuff on my own. I mean, I understand everything that goes involved in operating the equipment. And I can tell you from a fact, buying it new and operating it carefully is the cheapest way to do it. If you buy it new on an extremely low interest rate loan with zero down, it's, I don't know, maybe $1,000 a month for the one piece of equipment the city truly needs to go to maintain things. Or it revolves back to, if the ditch isn't your problem, and that should be a code enforcement issue, the person that owns the property should be mowing the ditch, and the city doesn't need to be worried about mowing it. But the city does need to be worried about maintaining all the roads that they're not maintaining. Like all the gravel roads that are falling apart, we're paying Grady to fix them, but we're not paying to maintain them, so they just fall apart again.
We understand that. We understand that challenge completely. We're not disagreeing with you. We understand that challenge completely. What we're trying to get through is how do we get the money to do it?
Or then you just stop whatever Grady's doing until you get money to do it.
Okay, we can take that up later. We got 4 minutes left and we need to set time for the next meeting.
Is everybody available on the first? Doug is available on Friday. Time is chatting.
What day is it?
Tuesday.
September 1st.
Yes.
That is next Tuesday.
I'm good for that day. You good? What time, Greg? Not good?
I'm thinking something day of Dubs.
Tuesday.
Just want to point that out.
I mean,
Stuck out for me.
Yeah, there's only 3 or 4 days in the year. Opening day of dove season, first Saturday in November. Last Sunday in January.
Well, the Dubs will be thankful that you'll be at this meeting.
They're thankful if I show up. They just run. Yeah, we already have a council meeting on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I show a meeting on
no,
Wednesday.
okay, that was tentative on May 1st. She's got a meeting, I have a meeting on Wednesday. So we're gonna move that tentative to second to first.
Oh, well, then I'll just hit edit.
There you go.
All right, so you're good with the first?
Yeah.
You're good with the
One,
first?
two,
Tuesday the 1st.
6:30?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Chad, you good with 6:30?
Yes.
Right.
Can I add that, ideally, I would like to see that we could be able to adopt by the 15th, or the week of the 15th. I'll be gone that very next week. Do you guys think we can, or what do you guys think we'll need to do to hammer out the rest of it to get it done? I mean, obviously, it's gotta be done. And
I think you might throw another full one in there, not including the regular council meeting coming up.
I have to
So what
get
is, what is, the
7 days to cover this public hearing on, if we do the 15th. We're gonna try to get out.
so that is the absolute latest date that can happen?
I'm not saying it's the latest date, I wanna think of
The reason I'm asking that is if our audits come in before we adopt, then we have the ability, we're not tethered to the no new revenue because we're compliant. So,
We have until October first.
I think we have to give every chance to get that audited.
And I don't think we're anywhere close ready to adopt it.
I don't say we are, I'm not saying we are now, I mean, how many, do we wanna do Tuesdays and Thursdays for a little bit? Do we?
I think we're gonna have to,
Yes, Doug said he would like to speak before we adjourn.
okay,
But we gotta put some dates in, because I've gotta get the paper, and I've gotta give the county time to prepare the notice. So if there's a day, like a drop dead day, you guys want to do it, that would be super helpful for
do
me.
you have a meeting in here on the 3rd?
I have a meeting the first Wednesday and the first Thursday.
What time are your meetings?
It'll be 7.
There's a P and Z meeting on the 3rd at 6 p.m.
And there is a building and standards.
What's everybody's availability for Monday the 7th?
It's Labor Day,
And,
so no. Labor Day.
the 14th, EDC has a meeting, the 31st, EDC has a meeting.
The Tuesday, the 8th, we have a meeting too, right?
Yes. What about Thursday the 10th? No,
I think we need to go ahead and book it.
Thursday the 10th.
Is everybody good for Thursday the 10th?
The Thursday.
Yes.
We're gonna September 1st, and then we're gonna do the 8th and the 10th. On the 8th, we can put a budget workshop in there during our regular session, as long as the
6:30
regular
or 7?
session is not long.
6:30.
6:30 for all special sessions.
And remember that Tuesday we have public hearing. So that'll be a 6:30 meeting.
Yeah, okay, so that happens already.
On our regular session, we will have public hearings.
And I'm afraid that guys, the one on the 1st, we need to take the time limit off of it.
I agree.
I know it means staying here later, but
So-
we are getting close.
Yeah, let's get it done.
And Doug, do you wanna add what you wanted to add before we adjourn?
Thank you. Stuff in that.
I don't know, we got to.
I hear you. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doug. You-
All right, so we've got our next meeting set. We all agreed on 6:30.
The first, right?
Yep, if there's nothing else on that, we'll go on to number 8.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I got a motion and a second.
That's covered.
Greg Sprinkle.
We are adjourned at 8:01.